Okay, so I'm going to go with this. It's a really quick video on how to clean out the Sanke Kegs, or at least how I clean out the Sanke Kegs. There's probably better ways to do it, but this is how I do it. And I'm going to set up a bucket to do it now. Okay, so this is how I set up my bucket. I got a 1/2-inch bulkhead fitting and a 1/2-inch barb. I got these off AliExpress and they were about $20 total. I'm going to be using this mostly for cleaning, but I did put the bulkhead fitting slightly up just in case I do want to ferment in the bucket. I marked the hole and used the step bit. Just make sure you go step by step in order to not overshoot the hole. Then check the fitting to make sure it fits. I smoothed out the hole and then rinsed out the bucket. When the bucket was clean, I hand tightened the bulkhead fittings. I don't find you need to use a wrench, but you might want to use one just to maybe give it a better chance of not leaking. My fittings had BSP type threads, so just make sure you have an O-ring in there before you screw them together. Here's a jig I cut in order to lay the keg on. I don't recommend using MDF. Use a good wood and cover it with polyurethane or something. This one's unacceptable and I have to replace it. For the Sanke fitting, I basically have an old one that I had. I took out all the one-way valves, and this allows you to hook up the pump to where the beer line connects, and it will drain out the CO2 line. I matched together a duo-tight fitting with a 1/2-inch silicone hose to connect it to the pump. Then you just have to screw it on the beer line, and then connect it to the keg. Don't forget to put the hose in a safe place before you activate the coupler. I hooked up my 3/8-inch hose to my 1/2-inch hose in order to rinse the keg out. I just hooked it up and started it, then I eventually turned it upside down. This drained the water, but then I hooked it up again in order to just give it another good rinse, and I did that for about a minute. At this point I mixed up some hot water and PBW and then set up the keg for a good washing. For the pump I use a Blickman Riptide pump. Basically hook it up to the bulkhead fitting, which makes the priming a lot easier, and then just set up the keg like normal. Rest the keg upside down, hook up the lines, and then watch it clean. Here's a quick overview of how it's hooked up. Wow, that's amazing. I leave that for about 10 to 15 minutes, and once it's done I rinse it out like I did in the first step. Once you've rinsed out the PBW, set it up again with Star San. Keep the Star San on for a few minutes and then purge and pressurize your tank with CO2. At that point you're pretty much done. All you really got to do is like this video and subscribe to the channel, and then maybe click on one of these videos that are popping up here. Thanks again for watching. Cheers.
Party time, party time, party time.